It's a word that gets used so much in our space it almost becomes background noise.
Open.
Exactly. But a report from TechCrunch suggests a nonprofit is trying to build the public infrastructure to back it up.
I'm Mila.
I'm Milo, and this is AI Daily.
Coming up, we'll get to the other side of that coin. A chip startup reportedly in talks for a $20 billion valuation by building very specialized, very closed hardware.
But first, let's stick with Open. A nonprofit called Current AI is reportedly racing to build what it calls the World Wide Web of AI. The goal is to create open, public AI infrastructure that's free for everyone to use.
Which is a direct response to the current landscape, where foundational models and the infrastructure to run them are concentrated in the hands of a few very large, very well-funded corporations. Current AI seems to be focused on accessibility in practice, not just in theory.
And they have a few proof points. The report mentions a device called the Suno Sutra, which is an offline device designed to work with 22 different Indian languages. That's not a feature you'd typically see prioritized in a major commercial model rollout.
They also recently launched an open-source chatbot and have allocated about $3.2 million in grants, which in the context of AI funding is a rounding error for the big labs.
Right. It's not meant to compete on parameter count. The framing here is about building public utilities. It poses a fundamental question about what the future of AI access looks like. Is it a service you buy from a handful of providers? Or is it a public resource, like the early internet was supposed to be?
The open question is whether a nonprofit can realistically build and maintain infrastructure at this scale. It's not just about code, it's about compute, security, and governance, and that takes more than grants. And from open source public goods, we turn to extremely valuable, highly specific hardware. The Wall Street Journal reports that AI chip startup Etched is in talks for a funding round that could value it at around $20 billion.
Etched is taking a very different approach than Nvidia. Instead of building general-purpose GPUs that can run any number of different AI models, they're building ASICs, application-specific integrated circuits. These chips are custom designed to run one type of AI model, but to do it much faster and more efficiently.
It's a bet on specialization. The company claims their hardware can be dramatically more powerful for its intended purpose than general-purpose chips, and investors seem to be buying in. The report notes they're raising another separate round led by Sequoia Capital.
The bet here is that the transformer architecture, which underpins most of today's large language models, is stable enough to justify designing silicon specifically for it. It's a high-stakes read of the current moment.
A very high-stakes read. Saying it out loud doesn't make it less complicated. The risk is that if a fundamentally new, more efficient AI architecture emerges, this incredibly specialized and expensive hardware becomes obsolete overnight.
But if they're right and transformers remain the dominant architecture for the next several years, then having specialized hardware could be a significant advantage. It represents a major potential challenge to Nvidia's dominance in the AI hardware market.
So we have a push for open infrastructure on one side and a massive bet on specialized proprietary hardware on the other. That brings us to our third story, the race to set the global rules for both.
According to Reuters, Chinese President Xi Jinping used the World Artificial Intelligence Conference in Shanghai to make a case for China to help lead global AI governance.
The pitch itself was interesting. He promoted the idea of open source AI and pledged support for developing countries, framing Beijing as an alternative to Washington in shaping how the sector is regulated and deployed.
It's a strategic play. By championing open source and positioning itself as a friend to the developing world, China is attempting to build a coalition of countries that might be wary of being dependent on US-based tech companies.
It also presents a stark contrast. The proposal for openness in AI governance is coming from a government known for its tight control over information and technology within its own borders.
Exactly. It sets up a fundamental choice for countries around the world. As they look to integrate AI, they'll be choosing between different technological ecosystems, and embedded within those ecosystems are different ideas about governance, censorship, and control. This isn't just a tech standards debate, it's about spheres of influence. Also in AI Today.
A new initiative will see public health departments across the United States testing generative AI tools from OpenAI and Anthropic. The program, called Pulse, was announced by the Coalition for Health AI late last week and will run trials in 10 jurisdictions.
The goal is to produce a guide for how public health agencies can safely and effectively implement these tools, one to watch for the real-world results.
So the day's tension seems to be between open as a public good and open as a geopolitical strategy.
And meanwhile, a $20 billion bet is being placed on hardware that is definitively closed.
We'll see which definition wins out.
I'm Milo.
I'm Mila.
This is AI Daily.